Nina, can you please explain the rationale behind a survey on this simulation-based competence development?
Yes, well, it's simple, really. At ECSO, in our working group 5 on education, training, awareness, and cyber ranges, we're particularly focused on capacity building and competence building activities. And we felt that there was a need to better understand organizations' capabilities when it comes to cybersecurity assessment tools, training of staff, and general usage of exercise and simulation environments. So basically, the main purpose of the survey was to assess how organizations in Europe currently address competence development through simulation exercises and so on, in order to understand how to deliver better solutions better fitting the needs of European organizations in raising cyber resilience. And it's really our belief that as a community, by understanding the needs and requirements in this area, we will be able to deliver solutions and recommendations that will have a long-lasting effect on securing the European cyberspace. And that's why it was crucial for us to have this be a collaboration between ECSO and the 4 European Competence pilot projects, Concordia, Cybersec for Europe, ECHO, and BART.
Perfect. Can I ask you, Matteo, what was the interest of ECHO on collaborating to this survey?
Well, basically, we have, in fact, a similar interest on this kind of survey. So in ECHO, we have a set of activities which are related to developing skill frameworks. And in this sense, we are working between the skill framework development and our cyber ranges, which we have quite a strong community within ECHO. So the results of this survey are quite important for us to understand exactly what the wider European community wants from a skills development perspective, but also from a technical perspective on how those trainings, those hands-on trainings, simulation-based, could be leveraged and could be provided. So definitely it was very important for us in order to set up a set of requirements for our programs in order to really have some material from where to start.
Brilliant. And can I ask both of you, what are, in your opinion, the most notable results of this survey?
Well, I think for me there are a few things that stand out. For instance, that only 48% of the organizations that responded have IT security compliance certification in place, such as the ISO 27000 series, and also that less than 20% actually see cyber exercises as a key metric to identify correct rules and practices. I mean, I think this shows us that there's still a lot of work to be done to raise awareness on the efficiency of such practices, but certainly also put in place tools that will allow organizations to more easily implement them in-house. But on an encouraging note, though, I was happy to see that a majority of organizations, just over 80%, I think it was, said that they would hire someone without a degree, but with proven competence. This is absolutely fundamental in cybersecurity, where suitability of a candidate should not be assessed by their degree alone, but rather on the specific skills and competences that they've acquired through their professional life. Also, 76% of the respondents actually said that they currently run cybersecurity training for their employees, which is also very reassuring. But we might need to take that with a grain of salt, because it's likely that the majority of our respondents were actually cybersecurity specialized companies. And we would obviously like to see that trend extend beyond to organizations at large.
Okay. From a cost point of view?
So, I completely agree with what Nina is saying in terms of the results of the survey. In particular, I have to say that we're quite interested on, there are two parts of the survey. The second part is more about cyber ranges, so really simulations and hands-on kind of trainings. And it's extremely interesting to see the perception of the respondent with respect to what is expected from cyber range trainings. So there are a set of very interesting notes about the fact that those trainings, yeah, they are very important. The fact that you can combine some theoretical parts with some hands-on part is extremely important. But there was quite a lot of focus from most of the respondent about the simplicity of the setup of those services, which honestly, from a technical perspective, we perfectly know that is not so easy at all. So there is not an out-of-the-box technology like most of the respondents are asking, that basically you sit down, you do your training, there's no problem, super easy to be configured. That's not how it works actually. So it seems that there is still some gap between the available technology and what is requested from the wider public. So that's something in which it's fundamental to work. And as ECO, we are going for sure to try to solve some of these issues with our Federation of Cyber Ranges. For example, what we want is to enable the wider public to easily select cyber range trainings and exercises without crawling the web in search for the best training. So it's already a start, but of course there is a lot of work to be done from an automation perspective. So for me that was extremely interesting as a result of the survey.
Okay, now if you talk about cyber ranges, what and how do you think they can help Europe in improving the cybersecurity awareness, though?
Well, I mean, I think they can in a number of ways, because we know that cyber ranges can be used for a variety of purposes, most of which contribute to raising and improving cybersecurity awareness somehow. For instance, when it comes to awareness of staff and end users, you can use cyber ranges for competence building. You know, the majority of security training today is done through online and face-to-face training courses, but relatively little time is spent on hands-on learning. And the use of cyber ranges really changes that, because it can provide a convenient and more cost-efficient way of delivering hands-on training, as well as the associated training assessment and certification. You can also improve awareness through user activity simulation, where you simulate specific scenarios that depict real environments. But equally important, I would say, at the organization level, cyber ranges can be used to simulate attacks, to collect and analyze data on events and workflows, and even for hiring and development of personnel. And all of these contribute to raising awareness and ultimately enhancing one's cybersecurity posture. Having said that, though, I think we as a cybersecurity community, and that's of course what we're trying to do also with ECHO and the other pilots, we have a responsibility to actually raise awareness on the opportunities that cyber ranges can offer in this area.
So from my perspective, yeah, I quote completely Nina. Cyber ranges. I think we are just starting exploring cyber ranges. So in relationship to what I was saying before, I think we still have a technological gap that needs to be filled in order to be able to really leverage on cyber ranges to raise awareness into the wider public. But there are enormous potentialities, because the difference between doing any kind of training session, even extremely simple for any kind of employee of an organization, for example, but being able to do hands-on really gives the dimension of what can happen and what happens in fact every day in the cyber world. And so in my opinion, there is really a lot of potentiality, not only from a cyber awareness perspective, but also from an economical perspective, a lot of opportunities for companies, for academy to study on the subject. So definitely we have as ECSO, as pilot projects, we have this mandate. We need to raise awareness. We are working a lot on cyber ranges, and those are one of the means by which we express this mandate that we have. So simpler training programs adapted to wider audiences, from very basic hands-on to very complex exercises, can be tailored to to the wider public and can really bring something new, which is very different from the classical PowerPoint presentation where you study why it's important to be secure. That's really not effective. When you see something happening, really gives you the dimension. I can make an example. We do, as my company, organizes trainings for the European Space Agency. So we have a cyber range which simulates a space mission. And when you see the normal operators of the space missions really see what may happen in their normal working environment due to a cyber attack, you really understand. They really understand the possible risks and the possible threats. It's extremely interesting. And the only way to do it is using a range at the end of the day, because presentation is not threatening enough, if you want.
That's very interesting, though. And then, as one of the last questions to both of you is that obviously there was a lot of things coming out of the survey. But first, to Nina, what is ECSO is doing on these subjects, really?
Well, on these subjects, we're doing a lot, actually. So, I mean, in our working group 5, we're working on a number of capacity building activities, everything from cyber ranges and skills and competence building to our initiatives, Women for Cyber and Youth for Cyber. But certainly on this particular topic and on cyber ranges, we're trying to support federation efforts. So, for instance, also with ECHO, we're trying to collaborate directly with ECHO on their tasks there, on their federation project and others as well, with regional projects like the cyber rallies. So we try to provide our support there, but certainly also what we want to do is, and just mentioned by Matteo as well, it's really to raise awareness on the topic and on the purpose and different use cases of cyber ranges. For instance, in the case of the survey, with the competence development, but there are a number of use cases. And actually, on that note, we recently released a paper, an ECSO paper called Understanding Cyber Ranges from Hype to Reality, which really tries to explain in a clear, understandable way what a cyber range is, what it can be used for, and what criteria can be used to better identify and select suitable cyber ranges to meet your specific needs and requirements. And I really encourage anyone wanting to learn about cyber ranges to check that out. Apart from that, I think I would also just point to, related to this survey, the outcomes of the survey, which actually showed a significant interest towards a kind of European cybersecurity hub, where providers can offer turnkey solutions customized to any kind of an organization, as well as also a European cybersecurity marketplace, where providers can offer their cyber range services, also customized to any kind of organization or sector, things like that. And I think these solutions are going to be crucial, and we have to, as a community, work towards those. And both those solutions would also offer better support to SMEs, by the way, who have less capacity to conduct in-house exercises or really invest in cyber resilience and mitigation processes. I mean, I think most organizations with less than 50 employees either don't have a dedicated cybersecurity budget, or it's less than 10% of their turnover. So I think ultimately what all this shows, the work that we're doing in ECSO, the work we're doing with the pilots, and certainly the results of the survey, is that we really need agile and scalable solutions in this area. And I think this can only be achieved through a collaborative effort between the main European cybersecurity actors. And as ECSO, obviously, we're proud to represent a variety of stakeholders in the cybersecurity ecosystem. But we want to continue working with all 4 pilots to really consolidate our efforts in this area and try to achieve some of these tangible results for the good of the cybersecurity community.
Mm-hmm.
Great. And how is ECHO doing around this?
So we have a set of initiatives within ECHO, and so we have quite a strong commitment on the technology side, cyber range perspective, let's say. So we are developing what we call the Federation of Cyber Ranges, which was mentioned also by Nina before. Our overall idea is to build a system that allows multiple cyber range providers to propose their services, which can be then will be able to be selected by the wider public, and that's going to also to solve in our vision one of the main outcomes of this survey. As Nina was mentioning, there are a lot of organizations, especially in Europe, medium and small enterprises, which really they don't have the mean to perform and to create a complex cyber training program using cyber ranges. So what we want to do through the marketplace on the Federation of Cyber Range is really to enable cyber range provider to provide any kind of service, also to small medium enterprises. So with a very limited cost with respect to what is now, they will be really able to have a gain on following those services, following those trainings, selecting from a plethora of cyber range providers. On the other end, our initiative is going to help cyber range providers themselves in order to publish and to have better visibility of their services, because actually the market is very scattered. It's not very clear who is doing what are the capabilities of different providers. So that's one initiative. On a little bit more theoretical perspective, we are working on a training program leveraging also on cyber ranges. So we're developing what we call the skill framework, which is going to be tailored on the usage of the assets that we are developing in ECSO. So I'm mentioning the early warning system, I'm mentioning the Federation of Cyber Ranges. So we are trying to tailor our skill program with a set of curricula, which are going to be as much as possible sector specific. So trying to highlight on specific sectors, because there is also space here to tailor the trainings towards specific problematics that are present in the energy sector, in the healthcare sector, and so forth. So that's what we are going to do. And then in general, of course, we are working quite closely with ECSO and with the other pilots in order to raise awareness around the subject. Something that is going to do one of our next initiatives. We already started it internally, but in order to test our early warning system, which is at this point already quite a good stage, we are organizing a tabletop exercises within the consortium itself. But the idea is that we will extend those exercises to the wider public, and those really gives a good idea and a good understanding of what happens when there is a cyber attack. So it's quite relevant.
Very good. And then maybe the very last question is that can you list some very immediate next steps of this work? You mentioned already the tabletop exercises. What else can be expected?
So definitely we are going, I think Nina, we are agreeing that we are going to issue again this survey. Probably we are going to refine it and we are going to issue again. Also, in order to see if something changed with respect to when we launched it, which was almost 1 year ago. So I think it should also become something that we want to repeat year by year in order to see if there are differences with respect to the results. And so that for sure will be a next initiative. And what we would like to do is as soon as ECSO, as soon as our technology will be more ready, so in a few months from now, we are going also to involve, if they are interested, to involve ECSO in our tabletop exercises with the early warning system in order to test and to see how it works. But also on the Federation of Cyber Ranges, we will try to involve cyber range providers from ECSO in order to see if our system is tailored for their needs, and also on the other side, if the public has interest on that.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.